and welcome to You're In Detention. And this week we have put Gerard in detention from Red ADHD. So thank you, Gerard, for joining us. And obviously, before we start, we always like to start with any detentions you might have got when you were younger at school. That's the kind of the vibe of the show. So there's got to
I,
have been
I think I spent once a week in detention when I was at school.
excellent.
I was
What was
I
your
was the
favourite
Dunce's
reason?
corner. I owned the Dunce's corner basically.
It's got to be the best place to be.
Yeah, the stuff they used to make us do, like because they couldn't corporal punishment was just gone recently in
Yeah,
Ireland. That they used to do is all different things like holding books like this and balance them as long as possible without dropping them. Like,
really.
you know. yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
I was always up to no good when I was in school.
Yeah, I kind of like that though. It's the school like the strengths that you have in the actual real world are
Mhm.
things that you're punished for at school, and it's just crazy. It just blows my mind every day.
Hmm. Absolutely, yeah. But I always thought I was thick and stupid in school. I thought I was never going to be able to do a white collar job.
Mm.
Um, I dropped out of school when I was 16, uh, partially because I thought I wouldn't do a white collar job, and partially because I became a father of twin sons. My twin sons now are adults and they're doing their PhDs in neuroscience and molecular biology, and my other son is doing epidemiology. Someone said recently, like, it's like you have a family business for ADHD.
Yeah, you do. You're completely made there.
Yeah.
But that's so true. I think the quicker you can get out of the school environment, I know I see people want to go on and do like A levels and they're trying to force themselves through university. Let's get out of school because that's not where you're going to thrive the most. You're going
Right.
to always feel like you say, I always felt like I wasn't good enough at school or like I wasn't trying and making no effort. And it just made you feel like that every day. But you were probably making twice as much effort as anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It,
Wait, but then when my kids were 16, I found out that I might have dyslexia, and I went for a 3.5 hour assessment. That was the hardest assessment ever, with the concept that I do not have dyslexia, and I fought it tooth and nail. And at the end of it, I found out I did have dyslexia. But that inspired me to go back to university. In Ireland, you can go to university as a mature student without the A levels. You can just do an interview and you can get into university on the basis of the interview. Based,
really?
yeah, based on like your life experiences. Unless it's something to do with like science or mathematics or something like that, you have to actually go back and do a year of your final year of school. But apart from that, you just it's on the basis of an interview. So
Wow.
I did an interview and I thought I'd last one semester. I ended up finishing second in my class. And the girl who beat me actually also had dyslexia.
Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing, isn't it? Because you wanted to do it.
Yeah, oh, I loved it. It was I was studying event management and public relations, and it was just every kind of event that you can imagine is what was our coursework. So it was a practical kind of your degree, basically,
Yeah, no, it
combined
sounds
with business. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think when, going back to doing the degree when you were older, I think it's definitely, like, something that you're interested in, you can, like, do it better than anyone else, can't you? But
yeah.
something that you do because you're having to do it that you're not interested in is excruciatingly painful.
Oh, yeah. I recommend to all kids doing their final exams now in Ireland. I'm like, don't do them. Like, just take a year out, and like
Yeah,
when you're 23, 24, you can go back as a mature student, and you'll actually know what you want to study, and you might get some enjoyment and fulfillment from it.
yeah.
Whereas kids are just going there to party like at 18. Like it's you're away from your family for the first time. Whereas when you go to college, when you love what you study, it's so much easier. And
Yeah,
then most mature students know exactly what they want to do when they leave, and it's so much better. It's like um, so in I absolutely hated being in school and high school.
mm,
Um, but university, I loved it. Every module I got was better than the last one.
yeah. It's amazing though, isn't it? Because that's how our brains are, like, wired to be
Mhm.
an
Mm,
interest-based, like, learning.
yes, yeah. In
Yeah.
my final year, then I did community development, rural and community development, uh, and as a result of that, I went to work in Barcelona, helping a poor neighborhood. My friend had this initiative, and he created this NGO in Barcelona. And now people from that poor community can go there like a community center, but they have to teach people. And because they teach people, everybody in the whole community is teaching each other for free how to do stuff. It's pretty cool.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
That's
is.
brilliant.
I think, and how did we get to the so you've got Red ADHD as your company, which is
Yeah.
brilliant. How did you come around to, we've how did you come around to creating Red ADHD?
I was working on a different startup a robotic startup, and I was helping these two guys who had a robotic startup. And I asked them, could I work like 10 hours less per week? And they said to me, it's fine. We only work 10 hours per week. And at the time, I was working like 50, 60 hours a week for them, doing all their sales and marketing, meeting clients and stuff like that. And I was completely let down by them. And I thought, if I spent the last year like playing the PlayStation, I'd be in the exact same place. And
Yes.
what I'd love to do is be able to help at least one person. Like if I help one person get out of a dark area in their life, then that'll be like a success for me. So each person that I'd be able to help would be able to help me so much because between 2009 and 2024, I've lost one friend to suicide,
Hmm.
one female and 15 men in that time period. And like I found out in hindsight that most of them have ADHD. And it would be great if a platform like this existed then. I think some of them might be alive today.
Yeah, it's very true. People are very lonely and feel very isolated with it, and I think that they're just this masking that goes with ADHD
Uh,
is such a huge problem because I know, even look back in at my own experiences in the corporate world, that if anyone asked me if I was okay, I'd say yes, regardless of what was going on. I just didn't want the fuss, didn't want to talk about it, and I didn't actually know how to talk about it. And
uh,
it goes back to being at school, like you say, in an environment where you don't really feel safe enough to talk about things, and then it kind of builds up, doesn't it?
yeah, but it's like two of my coaches actually told me they coach addiction, and they reckon everybody that has an addiction has ADHD.
Mhm.
Every
Mm,
single person,
wouldn't
which is
surprise.
alarming.
Yeah.
Um, and it's because we're always chasing that dopamine, that extra dopamine hit. Is it
Mm,
through alcohol? Is it through adrenaline? Is it through other pursuits? And because we're so open and like we only see the good in others, that it's easy for society to take advantage of us. And
mm,
as a result of being taken advantage of it, we internalize and put it on ourselves, and we're the person that's always wrong, never the others. And I'm sure if you're in that frame of mind and it stays in that frame of mind for so long, this would lead to suicide, I think.
yeah. Have you seen the Facebook groups? There's lots and lots of groups on the subject of ADHD on Facebook. Kerry and I have noticed a lot of them,
Mhm.
and there's so many people posting in there that can help people, but in these groups, no one's accepting the kind of help in the groups. It's just this group of piling on negativity that just runs through them, and it's almost, there's a community, we've talked about this before, there's a community of people that are very, very successful with ADHD, but
Mhm.
there's the stigma attached to it, so people don't want to talk about it, so no one's got this kind of group of people to aspire to. And then we've got the people that are in these groups, these
Yeah.
forums that I don't think are necessarily a healthy environment, because there's people asking and they're just piling on negativity, or kind of sympathy, if you like. And actually, there's people on there offering coaching service, there's free podcasts on there, there's that, but no one interacts with those kind of things. It's ever so weird. It's like a game of two halves going on at the moment.
So according to NASA hire the best and brightest in society in the US. The best people that they hire are people who have a combination of both ADHD and autism, because you
Mm,
have the creativity in ADHD, and then you have the meticulous kind of focused, mathematical, logical kind of sense together. And when you have both of them together, the best people that you can hire. I would even go so far as to say the best hires you can get in any workforce have a variety of neurodiverse conditions. My partner works in HR, and they have tests like psychometric tests to eliminate people with neurodiverse conditions. So companies like white collar companies are only when they're looking for the best workers, they're only looking for the best of neurotypical workers, whereas
Yeah.
they're missing out on all the best workers who actually have
Mhm.
neurodiverse conditions. Because there's some amazing people. All you have to do is Google like ADHD and famous person, and you get like people like Steve Jobs and all these famous people who,
Yeah.
and imagine that in your workforce. So, like, I genuinely believe that if companies started hiring people with neurodiverse conditions, they'd actually do a lot better. But not
Mhm.
only hiring them, but also accommodating them. And to accommodate them, they need coaching and they need psychotherapy
Mm.
in the workplace. And with that kind of help and support, they'll yield a lot more in the workplace and they'll create a better culture. So if you look at a place like Google, where
Mhm.
Google only hires neurodiverse workers, as far as I know, they've
Okay.
set up Google in a way that accommodates people with neurodiverse conditions. So it has like game spaces, it has like their dry cleaning, it has all of them things that are all there to cope for people that have ADHD. Um, Particularly programmers and coders have autism because they're really good at languages and really good at deciphering languages. And that's
Mm.
why Google hires people with autism and other neurodiverse conditions. And as a result of that, you can see how big Google have grown in the last 20 years. Like they're the biggest company in the world nearly.
Mhm.
And I think that's down to hiring neurodiverse workers. And I believe
Yeah.
that if we work together as a community, that we're able to show that the quality workers are there, that if you're able to bring them on board in your company will do so much better.
I think the innovation that neurodivergence bring into a business is off the chart. And we were talking about the other day about companies running graduate schemes, to get
Mm,
young talent into the business. I'm like, okay, but you're only getting one kind of thinking in there. So someone
right.
that's been through university when they've left school and has gone through that kind of path,
Mhm,
and you're interviewing in a certain way, you're looking for the same thing. You're
mhm,
going to actually you're going to drive innovation and neurodivergence out of your business by
mhm,
recruiting like that, because a lot of, like you say, you left school at 16, I left school at 16. There's all sorts of people that have left school at 16 that have gone on to be really, really successful entrepreneurs. But if you're looking for someone that went through university then and
mhm.
not in later life, then where's all the raw talent? Where's the other path to joining these organizations, like you say?
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, but I also think that with the right therapy and with the right coaching, that people can actually, we're like society define people by our weaknesses, sadly.
Yeah.
But if society defined us by our strengths, they'd see us in our true colors. And if you
Mm.
go back, like ADHD, people think, oh, this is only something new. It's only in the last 10 years. But like it's biological. It's been around with us for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And people throughout history, the great people throughout history all have neurodiverse conditions. They're not neurotypical people.
Mm.
And I spoke to an academic who genuinely believes with her anthropologist's dissertation that we'd be still living in the dark ages if it wasn't for people with neurodiverse conditions.
Mm. Mm. I
Because,
think
sorry,
no, sorry, you carry on.
because it's them that actually go and make a difference. It's probably because we're lazy. Maybe lazy is the wrong word, but uh, because we want to make our lives easier, we're always designing processes and innovations to make things easier. So it ends up becoming for everybody. People turn it then into a business, the stuff that we make easy for ourselves.
It was really funny that you say that, because the other day, I don't know, I can't actually remember what I was doing because it's just so irrelevant. But my husband was saying, "Why are you doing something that? Why are you doing that way?" Like, and I was like, "Well, it's completely inefficient to do it any other way." And he's like, "Yeah, but I think I was just getting stuff out of the car, and I was coming in with so much stuff." And he was like, why are you carrying all that in?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not making two trips to start doing that. That's really inefficient." And
Yeah,
it's like brain just that's completely obvious. Like if I'm going downstairs, I'm
yeah,
not going downstairs twice. I'll take whatever it is and I'll be dropping it everywhere, it doesn't matter. But my brain is like, "There's no way we're making 2 trips down the stairs, not at all. You
Yeah,
can find a more efficient way of doing it."
exactly, exactly, and that's what we're really good at. We're really good at finding ways of making stuff easier, maybe a bit harder in the long run for sometimes, but
Yeah, well, clearly, as the example I've just given you, it definitely is. I'm really lucky as well with our company having Kerry being my business partner, because Kerry's neurotypical, and Kerry can every day Kerry just brings this consistency into my life that I don't have, because I'm not consistent every day. There's always I'm either up like this all the time, and there's no like middle ground, and it's been brilliant like working with Kerry, because obviously Kerry, she's got used to working with me, and
no,
but that balance of being able to have the ideas and the innovation, and then someone to like implement them and not just get bored and then go on
absolutely,
to the next thing.
absolutely,
It's huge. I think it's been a
absolutely.
fire for Kerry though.
Yeah, so we're really good in a crisis. So if the whole building was burning on
Mhm.
fire, you'd run to the person with ADHD because they're the person that'll be switched on to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
But like, apart from that, when things are tipping along normally, we really struggle with that.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse, isn't it, of everything? And I think, if you had one of your ADHD qualities that you could not live without, like what is the best quality that you've got?
Um, Probably seeing things in the big picture and being able to solve problems really easily. So like, I could listen to like your problems like in your day to day life, and immediately I could understand the whole thing about everything. I'd ask loads and loads of questions, and I could see
Mm,
the whole big picture, and I could give you innovative solutions to your problems about how you're doing tasks and make it much more easier and more efficient.
mm.
People are amazed like that when they see that happening, like, and it's like it just comes natural. It seems like.
Yeah, it takes no effort to do that. I used to work in exactly the same, like an area of the business, and I used to get put in areas that needed focus, that needed to be like reorganized and
Mhm.
restructured and stuff. And it would take me a week. I'd be in there for a week, and I'd be like, right, okay, I know we know what to do. We'll just get on with it, implement it and stuff. But like that's people pay a lot of money for that, like consultancy and big firms and that. But it's just so natural, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I was at an event last week in Finland where it was all startups. There was maybe 6,000 startups, and like e every startup that I spoke to that was like really switched on and like really knew exactly what they were doing, they'd come along to me. The guy or girl, the CEO of the company, come along and whisper in my ear, "Oh, I have ADHD too," and I'm like, "Oh my god, you shouldn't have to whisper it to me, like,
No.
it should be open." Like, it's for me, it feels like the new LGBT movement where we're
Yes.
all coming out of the closet. Like, it's like people are so afraid to like say that they have a neurodiverse condition because of all the ridicule and all the stigma that we get in life.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be that person. I'm trying to be that person that unmasks completely and try and be out there for people that to realize that we're all part of a community here and we can all
Yeah.
help each other out.
I love that, because I'm when I first got diagnosed, and I wasn't diagnosed till I was 47, but when I first got diagnosed, I didn't really know what to make of it, because it was like if you talked about it, everyone was like, "Oof, should you mention that?" But it's I'm actually really proud to be have ADHD, because it's the reason that I've been successful.
Mhm.
It when I look back and all the things that I mean, when I left school, I was drinking every night, I was going out all the time, I didn't know, obviously, it's just searching for that dopamine, and then you just like then, when you're not drinking, you get anxious and things like that. It's just such a spiral you can be in, and there's so many people in that spiral, but actually when you start to understand all the bits about ADHD that you think, "Oh, I didn't realize, I thought that was me," but actually your ADHD, you're successful because of your ADHD, not despite it. And I'm absolutely I left my corporate job for the same reason. It's it's okay to talk about it. If you're successful, talk about it. Otherwise, you're kind of you're making the problem worse, because if
Mhm.
you don't want to talk about it, Well, then other people feel ashamed to talk about it, don't they? The people that are in that spiral or don't know kind of where to go and looking for some successful people to relate to.
Hmm. Absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. I met
Right.
him about a year ago, and he seemed to have the dream job for me, which was like he worked for a company, and his job was to get they'd buy these small businesses that are failing, and he'd turn around the business so make it profitable again. And I was like, "Oh my god, that sounds like the dream job." And he
Yeah.
said it was the dream job for him, but then COVID showed up, and he ended up working like 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. And he completely burnt out from doing that job. And then he actually went down the road of becoming a coach and studying to be a coach to manage his time better. Most people become coaches to manage themselves first, and then they do it to help other people. So,
Mm.
uh, yeah, so depending on different circumstances for all different areas. Because all coaching really is designing systems to manage your life. Like it's like, like for working memory, for example, it's like my partner, she never knows where her glasses are, and I always leave them in the exact same place for her. And it's like, you're the person, you're stealing my glasses. And I'm like, no, I see them in a place, I just leave them there for you. And so she said, don't do that ever again. I don't want you ever to do that again. And since then, she's like gone through maybe about, I think, €600 worth of glasses. You've no idea where they're gone.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Oh
Yeah.
dear. It
So it's
is.
basically building systems around your relationship and all different elements of your life is basically coaching. And then our platform then also has psychotherapists because I believe that you don't just need someone to build systems to manage your life. You also need to manage your life with genuine empathy
Uh-huh.
and understanding. And there's so many bad therapists out there and so many bad coaches out there who read a book last weekend and now they're a coach.
Yeah, I've seen that, Joe. Like, have you seen these courses that are like, oh, in 40 out over the weekend? So
Mhm.
on Friday, I'm not a coach, and by Monday, I'm out there coaching people that are very vulnerable. I absolutely,
It's very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
yeah,
We try to bring on the best possible coaches. We try to have the gold standard, which is ICF or ADCA coaching,
yes,
to come on our platform. Although we have like let in people that didn't have that gold standard, and
mhm,
there was a lady who's a nurse with the NHS, and she's been doing it for the last 20 years,
yeah,
and she specializes in the particular area that she coaches in. So I'm like,
amazing,
to me,
yeah.
that's even higher than the gold standard
Yeah,
because she's a
it
nurse.
really is. Lived experience is massive, but
Yes, yes.
yeah, the fact that you could not have any experience, like leadership experience, is a massive experience for coaching because you're coaching and developing people all the time, and you're used to being in that. But
Yeah,
if I've had no experience in that, and then all of a sudden I've decided I want to be a coach, I think it's there's no regulation around it at the moment. Because of,
that's a big
um,
problem, and that's something that we want to change in the future. Sorry, Kerry.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um, Sorry, Kerry. I didn't know whether you were trying to say because it was just muting you.
No, I was going to say, Gerard, we spoke earlier, but one of the things that I was really interested in was your own like diagnosis journey into ADHD. So you've
okay.
touched on it, you talked about the dyslexia.
Hmm.
Um, what was because I'm also conscious that I don't know if we said this that you're in Sweden.
Yeah, I'm living in Sweden. Yeah, so um, I came first here in 2017 to do my master's in entrepreneurship and innovation. For anybody with ADHD, it's the best master's degree you can ever do. It's like there's no exams. It's everything is practical. They come along and they give you an assignment, and you have 3 hours to solve the assignment. And like you put into groups, and then each group has to solve their part of the assignment. And then at the end of the class, you have to give your presentation about how you solved it and what the process you did. There's no like right and wrong way to do it. But then at the end, they show exactly what the real company did. And this is what the real company did, and the real company were wrong, and it ended up costing them loads of money down the line. But what you were doing was right, and you would have saved them loads of money. So,
Mm.
it's really
What's it,
cool.
Gerard? What's that called? Innovation and what?
Entrepreneurship and innovation.
Oh, it sounds amazing. Just in case anyone was looking
And
at it.
put on to entrepreneurship as well. It basically taught you how to be a C-suite director of a company.
Mm,
And it was
an
really cool.
effective one, you mean?
Hmm?
An effective one.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like it was like at the end, then we had to write like a thesis as well to go with the masters. But I thought it was amazing. I never wanted to end. I wanted to do another 3 years of it. I thought it was really good. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, and how did that get onto your diagnosis then?
So then after that, I went back to Ireland to study biodynamic psychotherapy. If you're not familiar with that, it's all different. You study all different types of psychotherapy, but at the same time, then you work with the body as well. So different people get stressed in different ways. So you'll experience it maybe in your gut. Another person might experience stress in their shoulders. And then
Mm,
it's basically working with that area and then like pushing and pulling stuff. Like, so you push really hard, you try and knock something over, and then you'd sit down and you'd go through, let's say, gestalt therapy with that patient. And then over the next 10 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever the case may be, we combine like kind of exercise, well, like pushing or pulling or something like that. Then with combine that with the different types of therapy, and then combine that with massage work as well. So
mm.
the whole loop is really amazing. Like I
Yeah,
didn't,
sounds really interesting.
and it was there that I found out that I might have ADHD. And when I found out that I might have ADHD, kind of an alarm bell kind of went off, and like I ended up researching lots and lots and lots about it. And as a result, I quit all my vices. Like, so I quit like cigarette smoking, and I quit like
Mhm,
drinking, and I quit like amphetamines, which I
mhm,
realized I was addicted to because, that's what we need. We need amphetamines to balance
mhm.
it out. Yes. So that's where the start of my process started with. And then I went to my GP. My GP said to me, in Ireland, the HSE, she said to me that you've nothing to worry about. Only children get that. And anyways, you grow out of it when you're 21, so you've nothing to worry about as an adult. Um, so which I just thought was absolutely ridiculous. And since then, for the last 7 or 8 years, I've been on a waiting list in the HSE in Ireland to get diagnosed. But in the meantime, I moved back to Sweden here in January 2020, and I went to my GP here, and 10 weeks later, after going to my GP here, I got diagnosed as having ADD. And then they have a whole program where they help people to manage your day to day life. And they give you coaching and they give you group therapy. Group therapy is amazing because it's everybody in the room has the same thing as you have. And they've
Yeah.
already designed systems into tactics and everything.
Mm.
And then also here in Sweden, everybody in society is entitled to like 8 1-to-1 psychotherapy sessions per year, paid for by the
Wow.
state. Yeah.
Because we have, if we want that kind of support, you've got to go through access to work. And I went through that when I was at my previous employer. I think it took a year for my application to even be looked at. And then by the time it had actually been looked at and I went through it with my employer, I was then leaving. I left after a 24 year, like I was served for 24 years in my previous organization. And the time they actually came through, I just said, "Well, actually, I'm leaving to do something else." They said, "Well, you've got to reapply." I'm like, "You're joking." Um, and I reapplied as a self-employed, and then I got a letter saying, "Oh, your case has been closed." I thought, "Do you know what? I haven't got the energy for this because I'm just it's the worst at filling in all the forms and going through all of that process." I'm like, "This is so inefficient." My brain is like, "You are not wasting any more time doing that. Just self-help, don't you?"
There should be a better way of doing it, like where it's like an insurance, where you fill out like an insurance
Yeah,
form and then that's it,
mhm,
you know,
I know.
and then you can get as much help and support as you need.
Yeah,
And
but even Gerard, I don't know about how you find it, but organisations like I have people reaching out like that want coaching, and they reach out to Kerry and I and say, "Okay, can we have some coaching, please?" And then when we say, "Will your organisation fund the coaching?" They don't know, and then their line manager doesn't know, and then they're coming back. People are having to fund this themselves, but actually, if you're running an organisation and you want to get the best out of your people,
yeah,
support them through the coaching. Like, it's not expensive for an
absolutely.
organization,
And
coaching.
we have a thing here in Sweden called an employee yielding calculator. and that's how much each employee like brings a return on like your investment in investing in them. So like if
Mm,
you hire someone, they'll bring back 3 times their salary basically to cover their costs. And I believe that with the right helping, coaching, and therapy, that
Mhm,
this and yielding calculator can go from 3 times to maybe 5 times. So you're
yeah,
getting a lot more money in every year in your company. Your company is making a healthier bottom line. And then as well, you also have a happier workforce. And if you've
yeah,
a happier workforce, like I've, there was a study done in the US where this HR company did this study in the US, and they found that 70% of people working in the organization said they'd take a pay cut if they'd fire their boss. And it was like, it's because they hired the wrong people to be leaders in the US.
yeah.
They just don't hire humble people. And if you create a really strong company culture of people like of all different dynamic and diverse backgrounds, you're going
Mhm.
to have a much happier organization. And everybody wants to feel happy going to work on a Sunday night. Because my co founder has a podcast, and he said that someone that calls him up once a week, and he says he's fear living daylights of going to like work on Monday because he's scared to death that someone's going to find out about his ADHD and dyslexia.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is sad, isn't it? And this psychological safety for people to come and talk about things,
mm,
like if I want to go to work, if I enjoy being at work and and someone's created that light-hearted environment where I know that I can add value and I am valued, and like I'm going to run for a wall for you. But if I don't feel like that in that I mean, Kerry and I, we've talked about the Sunday night dread we used to get when we worked in the big corporate organisation. It's like, "Oh, it's Sunday," and everyone gets that Sunday dread, doesn't it? Doesn't mean it's a bad place to work, but if you can make that, like, less, if you can make people actually go, "Oh, it's work tomorrow, yeah," and you can use all of you're not masking at work and you can be yourself and you're in the
mhm,
right job. But some people have ended up in really the wrong positions. When I left school, when I left school at 16, they were like, school were like, "Well, you need to go and work in an office." Right. I mean, I didn't know I had ADHD then, but you couldn't have given me any worse advice to go and do repetitive tasks over and over. So
Yeah.
there's people that are just falling apart doing these repetitive tasks. And actually, if you put them in a creative environment,
mm.
they're going to really like add value to that company through innovation and the kind of the bringing themselves properly into the team.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I've worked in a factory, and that to me is absolute hell, torture altogether. And the
It's
same repetitive task over and over again. And when I went to my school reunion a couple of years ago, I sat down beside 2 guys, and one guy finished school on the Friday, and the following Monday, he went into the factory, and he's been in the factory ever since. And I was
oh,
like,
no.
"Oh wow, that sounds like torture." And then the other guy was like, "At the end of the summer, I went and we're working in the same factory, and they've been there for 25 years or something." And I'm like,
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
"Wow, how the hell do you do that?"
Oh, God. I think if I'd have been in the factory for more than 2 months, I'd have been, "Right, okay, well, this is a waste of time." Like, I'd be rewiring the whole factory. I'd be like, "No, this is you do this in a much better way, ripping it to pieces."
Yeah, I used to lift boxes off a conveyor belt, and I put down the empty boxes, and I used to put the boxes in a shape together, and I'd make these kind of sculptures. And people would be like, "Oh, what's wrong with that guy making these sculptures out of boxes?" And
Well,
I'm like, "I
that's
have to
the
do something. This is driving me crazy." The same
that's the only
repetitive sound, ding,
way.
ding, ding, constantly, like, and yeah,
That'd be a great diagnosis way, wouldn't it? Just put people in a factory and see who starts falling apart after about 10 minutes.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I was there for 6 months, and it felt like about 60 years.
So do you know, it blows my mind listening to you both talking about um, your ability to problem solve, keep calm in a drama. I mean, I know when we used to work together prior to Messy Minds, if I had a panic situation, I would phone Jo, and she'd normally be like, "Okay, deep breath. This is what will happen. This is what we can do." Um, but then alongside that, you've got people feeling this real stigma, and they can't
Yeah,
say that they've been diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that. And I think I struggle to understand. I suppose and I think, Joe, we've had this conversation before about maybe there's not enough people with that lived experience who have done the big jobs, who have shown that you can progress, um, speaking up about it, because it's just amazing to me that I can see what true talent there is there. And you're both right. Yeah, we've been diagnosed. We're, got these strengths that other people don't necessarily have.
Mm.
But yeah, it it's just seems so weird, doesn't it? That you've
Mhm.
got that and that there's such a stigma.
Do you know what though? Oh, go on. Sorry, Gerard.
So like that's another big thing that we want to combat against is the stigma.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
like having a safe space, just somewhere where you can just go in to like our platform and you can find the right person who can help you
Mhm.
with whatever thing you need and get that taken care of. We're kind of also looking into like corporate sponsorship because there will be people that come onto our platform who cannot afford our services, and we want to
Yes.
have like and kind of like an open lottery where once a
Mm.
month someone could win like coaching or therapeutic help because not everybody can afford these services.
Yeah. And it's a really good point, isn't it? I think the biggest thing that when I went through my diagnosis that I got from it after about a year, it took me obviously a bit of time because you have that kind of regret. I think when you're diagnosed so late on in life, you have this kind of grievance process that you go through with yourself. You're just like thinking, wow, like there's so much that I could have done with this, as well. And you kind of go through that. But the one thing that I kind of got out of that journey that I went through was not needing someone else to put a value on me. And I think before I was always like waiting for other people to go, oh yeah, you've done a good job there, and you've done a good job there, and you can have a promotion, and you yeah, go for this job,
Mm,
and like I thought actually all of this is completely meaningless because I know my own value now, and actually it gave me the confidence just to leave and do something for myself in an area that I'm really passionate about. So
mm,
I think that I think you have to go through that kind of journey, don't you, in order to discover who you really are.
mhm.
Because I always felt like I was meant to be doing something, and even though I was successful in my career, I don't think anyone could understand why I'd walked away from a successful career to come and do this. I bet some people are going, "Well, what's she done that? And now she talks about with ADHD." Well, someone's got to.
Yeah, I think it's better to like do something that you love doing than something that you're just doing for the salary. If
Yeah, I
uh,
agree.
I said to my kids growing up, I said I didn't want them to go to college. I want them
Mm.
to actually find something that makes them happy and spend their whole life doing that. One of my sons listened to me and he like tested out a few different things, worked in bars and all. But eventually he went back to college and now he's started his PhD in epidemiology. And he really loves what he does. And both of them are like the best teachers you can imagine because they'd spend all their time talking to you about your interests. And then they'll
Mm.
build a whole story about around your interests about exactly what they do. So they make you not only they make you engaged in what they're doing, but they make you almost love what they're doing. So that you're thinking you're almost re-questioning your life and like going, oh, maybe I should have done neuroscience or epidemiology.
It's such great advice though to give to your lads to say, look, do something that you love because very often everyone's on that. You've left school, you must do A levels, go to university, get an apprenticeship. You're like, well, you're at work a long time, aren't you? So
Yeah.
you've got just you just need to that time to explore who you are and what actually works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I'm all
Yeah.
for people are not brave to get out of their status quo and change up their lives and do what you've done. So, like, it takes a lot
Mm.
of bravery, a lot of courage to do that. And it's so cool
Mm.
that you've done that, Joe. That's amazing.
Mm.
Really is.
I'm happy, and it's nice because it's given us the opportunity to network with people like you. We'd never have made that connection, and I know I'd seen you making some really, really great points on LinkedIn actually, and I think one of them was about the coaching industry and the fact that there's these programs that are just churning out inexperienced coaches, which is actually, which is not great. But and that's, and then I reached out to you, and what do you know what's lovely about it? Because in most industries, like people that are running similar businesses, that's similar, but it's not the same. But they're in fierce competition, but we're all trying to achieve the same thing. Like you say,
Mhm.
if we can bring down the suicide rate of people, neurodivergent people, If we can make a difference to someone that's really, really struggling, then that's the goal, isn't it?
But a lot of people have reached out to me as like customers that turned out to be competitors, and I knew that by
Mm.
talking to them, how they were approaching things, that they were a competitor. And I was like, why can't we not just be collaborators instead of competitors? And then the
Yeah,
whole veil came down, like, and we all like, it's like we're all in the same mission together. We all really want to help our community. Why do we
yeah,
have to fight against each other? Why can't we not like look on ways where we can help each other? And what,
yeah.
like we really, as a community, need to come together and work together. And that's the only way we're going to help people come out of this stigma. Like when parents find out like their child has ADHD, like the look of horror in their face, like why do they have to have a look of horror? They
I
should be
know.
looking at this. This is amazing. Like this is an
Yeah.
advantage in life.
Oh,
ADHD and dyslexia and all these other neurodiverse conditions are advantages, not disadvantages.
of course they are. And then you have parents that don't want their child to go through the diagnosis because they're like, somehow got this shame, like you say. And actually, the worst thing you could do for your child is to not allow them to understand how their brain works, because they're in a system that's not designed for them. If
Hmm.
you can't understand how your child is thinking and processing information, and how they're, what's causing them to behave in a certain way,
Yeah.
you're giving them they are going to grow up feeling like they're just not good enough. And actually, now these days, you've got the ability and the tools and everything around you to do something about it.
Hmm. You do. You do. You have lots of opportunities now.
Mm.
Particularly like the society we lived in, like society we grew up in as children, like was a lot harder than it is for kids today, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
But there's still a long way to go. Like we need to actually we need to be a lot more open about, we need to actually push our abilities and talk about our abilities openly. Where
Mm.
people are like going, oh, it's like superpower powers, like superheroes, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, no, that's fantasy. I'm talking about reality. In reality, like we are, like if we looked at everybody's strengths in society, everybody, because I think it's like, is there 11 different types of intelligence, or there's like 7 different types of intelligence? Like like a famous sportsman, like uh, Lionel Messi, let's say, is really good at being a football star, but he's really useless at everything else.
Mhm.
And it's the same like for like a mechanic. A mechanic is really good at tearing down a car. If you put a doctor there tearing down the car, he won't have a clue how to do it. So
Yeah.
everybody in society is intelligent in their own right at a particular area. And if we start promoting that you've got one good area that you're really good at, that if we start focusing on everybody's abilities rather than everybody's weaknesses,
Mhm.
in society would be a little bit happier. And the focus of society should be about happiness, not like about trying to do one over on each other.
Yeah. It's so true, isn't it? And if you look at neurotypicals and neurodivergents,
Hmm.
both of those are poor at some things, aren't they? It's just that the neurodivergent negatives are focused on. So I think I saw the ADHD iceberg, and it was all negative, like everything about it was negative. And I was like, "What is this?" This is so you could do another iceberg for neurotypicals to say these are all the things that actually,
All the
and
positive.
what you'll find is one is a complete reverse of the other. So, like, actually, when you put them together, which is what like Kerry and I've done, we know where our strengths are and we know where we're not so good, and we kind of like balance each other out. But this neurodivergent weakness is talked about all the time. Look, you've had a lifetime of that at school. You don't need it in when you're growing up and you're trying to get a job and you're trying to like work on your career. But
Hmm.
it it's just that bringing that positivity into the marketplace, isn't it? And not from a, oh, you struggle with this, you struggle with that, because that's what is, there's too much of that actually.
Hmm.
No, because we're brilliant at loads of things, and let's focus on those, because everyone's bad at something, like you say.
Yes, everybody is. Yeah, yeah. But I
Absolutely.
genuinely believe that we have that extra abilities, like the fact that we can go into hyperfocus. I was talking to someone the weekend, and he was saying to me that he's gone into hyperfocus for a full weekend, where he's just like, he started working at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, and next thing it's Sunday night again, like where he's finished work, and he's like, where did the last 3 days go? Like,
Yeah, and I bet he did hardly eat or drink anything.
yeah, yeah, he
Oh,
just
yeah.
focused on the computer, 100 miles an hour, million coding. yeah, yeah.
It's
It
so
happens
true.
myself. Like I'd start working at 8 o'clock on a Monday, and next thing I look at my watch and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I wonder where's the last 20. It's like that feels like 20 minutes. Like
You know, it just I don't know what it is. I think once it was 2 years ago or something, I thought I'll just clean out the kitchen ready for Christmas or something. I'd got 3 days off work. Like, this is how I use my annual leave, and I started cleaning the kitchen, and before I know it, 3 days had passed and had gone through the whole house, and my husband had come home 'cause he'd been away. He was like, "Why there's, like, 16 black bags in the hall?" I was like, "No, they need to get to the tip." Like, I've been through the whole house. Like, I didn't eat, I barely ate, I barely drank anything, and I just couldn't sleep either because I was like, "No, I need to be getting on with this." And it was almost just the
yeah,
energy that comes out of that is unmatched. Like, he would be like, "Well, I need to eat something or I need to get to bed because 'cause I'm tired."
mhm.
No way, like, you would not be able to snap me out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I know the feeling. Like everything has to be color coordinated then as well, and everything spacing out properly. And or I'll start doing one press, and then like 8 hours later, all the presses are neatly organized everywhere.
It's
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it?
and
But
then
then, other days I can be a complete gremlin and I can have stuff all over the place, but then when I decide that it's the time that I'm gonna actually focus on it, but
mhm,
it can't just be any time. If someone tells me to do it, obviously I'm absolutely not gonna do it then,
no,
but, um, when the moment comes and that's that moment, it could be like 10 o'clock at night.
yeah, you go straight into it. Yeah, yeah.
I'll be
I've been there.
Kerry. Oh,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Then my girlfriend will be like killing me. Like I can't find anything. Where's everything gone? It's organized. So
Don't touch it. Don't
yeah.
touch
But
it.
then the problem is as well when the dopamine wears off towards the end, and it's like, oh, such a drudge to finish it. It's like torture to finish the last bit.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I was just said the other week, I took in the morning, I thought, "Oh, I'll take the bed off, I'll wash it." And then I went back up in the evening, I'd forgotten I'd done it. I was like, "Oh," because I am not the same person that took that bed off this morning.
It's worse when you do things in your head and you have them already done in your head.
Mhm.
Then you go there and you go, "Well, where the hell is it?" Like I made the dinner and I cooked everything. I put it in the oven, and then I go up to the oven. There's nothing in the oven. What I didn't even cook it at all.
I have to say the thing that's the most challenging with ADHD that I do find though is your working memory. It can be just so
Oh, so
frustrating.
bad.
It's just, for all the positive things that come out of it, that is just
Yeah,
the
the other
absolute.
night I sat down and I was like, "Oh, I'll make a cup of tea." I came along and I got a cup of tea and I sat down and there was a second cup of tea there beside me. And I was like, "But I'm at home alone. Who else done this? Where did this tea come from?"
I love that. And you put it went I've done it the other day. I just basically put a tea bag in my cup and then I realised I'd already done that. So there was two in there. I thought, oh dear. Oh, it is that is I think that has got to be the worst
No, you just
element.
you just have to laugh at your
You
inconsistencies.
do. Yeah, you
Otherwise
do.
you just go mad. Like, before finding out I had ADHD, I used to go mad at myself
Yeah,
for all this stuff I used to do,
yeah.
and afterwards, I just laugh at myself. I just think it's so funny.
Luckily, with ADHD, you usually have a wicked sense of humour so that you are able to. I think that is why I think it's gone. Have a short memory, but you can have a great sense of humour so that you can just laugh at yourself.
I think
Excellent.
most comedians have ADHD.
Yeah, the well, yeah, because Paul Whitehouse has ADHD. They do a podcast, don't they? Him and the lady's name because I can't ever remember names. Um, but a lot of comedians have ADHD. In fact, the scenarios that they talk about very often, I'm like, I could just relate to all of this.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely.
But they are brilliant. Oh, and thanks so much for joining us today, Gerard. It's been absolute. I've really enjoyed talking to you and sharing our experiences. But hopefully you've enjoyed us, and hopefully you'll come back again and join us. Maybe bring your business partner, and hopefully we'll return the
Yeah, or
favour and
maybe
we.
you might come on his platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to do that. But thank you all for listening. You've been, You're In Detention. And thanks, Gerard, for being in detention. I think you've been the most honest about your detentions and I have full respect for that. Um, and yes, we will see you next week for our next episode. But in the meantime, obviously give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And thank you very much for joining us.